The docking bay lights flickered in fractured amber hues as the Orion's promise descended through the atmosphere of Harkon 7. The planet's blue haze shimmered with ionic storms, painting the sky in electric ribbons. Captain Elias Mercer stood at the viewport, his reflection ghosted by the storm outside. He'd seen 100 alien worlds, but none as alive, or as fractured, as this one. They were here for one purpose: the interstellar diplomatic exchange. A century ago, humanity had joined the Galactic Concord, a fragile coalition of species that relied on psychic bonds, telepathic links formed between individuals across species, to communicate deeply and ensure peace. But humans were the odd ones out. Their minds didn't connect easily. Only a rare few could form even the most tenuous of bonds. Elias wasn't one of those few. He was just a soldier turned pilot, ferrying ambassadors and scientists across the stars. Still, he was curious. And perhaps, though he'd never admit it, lonely. The scarred one. The Harkon delegation awaited them in the central plaza, a vast dome of crystalline metal that pulsed faintly with thought energy. The Harkoni were tall, elegant beings, their translucent skin rippling with faint colors as their emotions flickered through. But one figure stood apart, half hidden behind a column, her light dim, her skin marred with dark fissures that looked like burns or fractures through glass. Elias noticed her before he noticed anyone else. "That one," he murmured to his second officer. "Who is she?" "Record identifies her as Lyraeth," the officer replied. "Harkon interpreter caste. She's, apparently, unbonded. Among the Harkoni, to be unbonded was worse than exile. Their entire species connected through psychic resonance. To fail to bond with others meant existing in silence, an unbearable loneliness. Lyraeth's scars weren't just physical. They were the visible remnants of a failed bond attempt, something so dangerous it could shatter the mind. Elias couldn't look away. A meeting in the quiet. That night, while the ambassadors discussed trade routes and alliance treaties, Elias wandered away from the formal chambers. His curiosity led him to the observation deck, where the glass walls looked out over the storm-swirled horizon. There she was again, Lyraeth, her form haloed by the faint blue glow of the lightning below. "You shouldn't be up here alone," he said quietly. Her voice was like a whisper carried on the wind. "I am always alone." He hesitated, unsure whether she meant that literally or metaphorically. "You're Lyraeth." She turned slightly. Up close, her features were strange but graceful, eyes like molten silver, the fractures across her skin shimmering faintly. "You should not speak with me," she said softly. "Your kind fears what they cannot read. My scars unsettle them." "I've seen worse," Elias said. "Scars mean you survived something." She looked at him then, really looked, as if his words pierced through the invisible barrier between them. "Your mind is quiet," she murmured. "Most humans. Their thoughts hum like static, too fast, too loud. But yours," she tilted her head. "You are still inside." Elias didn't know what that meant, but something about her voice made him want to stay. The failed bond. Over the next several days, Elias found excuses to see her. Between cargo transfers and briefings, he'd find her in quiet alcoves or empty chambers. She taught him fragments of her language, tones and pulses that resonated through crystalline conduits. He told her stories of Earth, the oceans, the wind, the smell of rain. She listened as if each word was a miracle. Then one evening, she confessed the truth of her scars. "I was chosen to bond with a Cytheran empath," she said. "The union would have united two races that had warred for generations. But I could not hold the link. Their mind was too strong, too different. The feedback shattered my connection centers. She touched her chest, where faint cracks glowed like dying embers. No one will bond with me again. I am a broken vessel. Elias shook his head. You're not broken. You're just carrying too much. Her luminous eyes met his. You do not understand, human. To be unbonded is to be empty. He hesitated, then said quietly, maybe emptiness just means there's room for something new. A silence fell between them, deep and electric. She studied him, then said, you would risk a link with me? He didn't know why the words came so easily. Yes. The bond. The process was forbidden. Humans and Harkoni were incompatible. Their neural frequencies differed too much. But Lyraeth insisted there might be a way. A delicate resonance chamber used centuries ago to attempt first contact. When they entered the chamber, the air shimmered with psychic static. Lyraeth stood before him, hands trembling. If the link fails, it will burn through both of us, she warned. Then we succeed or fail together, Elias said. She reached out, placing her hand against his chest. The world seemed to collapse inward. He felt a surge of light, an ocean of thoughts, memories, sensations not his own. Her pain, her exile, her endless silence, all poured through him. He staggered, gasping, but didn't pull away. Instead he pushed back, not with words but with feeling, compassion, understanding. The memory of the first sunrise he'd ever seen. Then something clicked. A pulse of light rippled through the room. Lyraeth cried out as the cracks across her body flared brilliant gold. Elias saw flashes of her childhood, her laughter, her grief, and she saw him, the lonely boy who'd watched the stars from a broken Earth city. When it ended, they were both on the floor, breathing hard. But the silence between them was gone. I can hear you, she whispered. And I can feel you, he replied, his voice unsteady. Cost. The next morning, alarms blared across the station. The Concord authorities had discovered the unauthorized link. Psychic interference radiated through the Harkon core network. Unstable, unpredictable. They accused Lyraeth of violating protocol, risking planetary destabilization. They came to separate them. Elias stood in their way. You'll have to go through me. The Harkoni stared, stunned. Humans were rarely so defiant. But before they could act, Lyraeth raised her hand. Stop. The interference is not destruction. It is harmony. The frequencies are stabilizing. The central crystal at the heart of the station began to pulse with a new light. Soft, golden, balanced. For the first time, human and Harkon resonance coexisted without collapse. Lyraeth turned to Elias, awe in her voice. We did not break the bond. We changed it. The officials could only watch as the readings stabilized. For centuries, species had failed to bridge their psychic divides. But now, through two broken souls, they had succeeded. Epilogue. The Echo of Light. Years later, the Orion's Promise sailed again, this time under dual command. Captain Elias Mercer and Ambassador Lyraeth of Harkon. The Concord had evolved. New bonds formed between species once thought incompatible. And at the heart of it all was the first human-Harkon link, a story whispered in the corridors of the stars. Sometimes, when the ship drifted through the silent dark, Elias would feel her thoughts brush his mind. You saw me when no one else did. He'd smile softly and answer in kind. And you showed me that even scars can shine. Outside, the stars flared bright, their light echoing the same truth across 1,000 worlds. That connection, once thought impossible, could heal even the deepest wounds.